This is the last part of day one in the trial against Lindsay Clancy that began today. This is her ex-husband's testimony, Patrick. Now, Patrick's testimony will continue on Wednesday as they will not be in session tomorrow. Lindsay is being charged with taking the life of their 3 children. The defense says, yes, she did so because she was suffering from postpartum psychosis. She begged for help. No one diagnosed her correctly, didn't give her the right meds, and that is why this happened. The state knows this and still pursued criminal charges. The prosecution says, no, she did this all premeditated. So let's go into Patrick's testimony. He, first of all, didn't even look like he wanted to be here. He was the first witness. And he shares that when they were dating, everything was great. She was a labor and delivery nurse. They ended up moving in together before they got married. And then in 2017, their first daughter is born. That is when you start seeing a little bit of her postpartum struggles. He shares that she had significant physical trauma from the delivery, so she took a little bit longer to recover. Everything was good during her maternity leave, but of course, when she had to go back to work, everything shifted. She was anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, and really struggled with being separated from her child, which I think we all can agree and identify with that. She said she was stressed, worried, and really didn't want to go back to work. Then after their second child, he said that birth was traumatic because the child was breached. Her emotional struggles intensified. During maternity leave, she was good, but again, returning to work triggered all of the anxiety. She felt overwhelmed trying to manage 2 kids' schedules, naps, and her responsibilities. They did have kind of like a babysitter nanny that would come about 12 hours a week because she would work overnights. She would come that way during the day. She could sleep a little, and Jen would help. I think her name was Jen, would help with the children. At the time, she had 2. No medication at the time, no psychosis, just her being able to manage that anxiety and that stress. However, after baby number 3, he says, look, everything was great. The birth was easy compared to the other 2. Nothing stood out. Summer of 2022, after the baby's born, everything is great. All of a sudden in September, it shifts. Her anxiety returns because she's stressed about going back to work. She said that it actually felt unnatural to be separated from a newborn. He then notices that by late October, she seems more depressed. They did ask him about a wedding that they attended apparently in September, and she said, I think I'm going to start taking Zoloft for her anxiety and the fact that she was going to return to work. The prosecution was like, did she, tell you she was going to take it? She was going to go to a doctor? He said, yes. I asked her how she was going to get it. Apparently from a doctor. She was going to tell the doctor. According to the state, she already had the meds at that time. She was breastfeeding and apparently did not want to take them while she was breastfeeding. Now, what they ended up doing is that they end up hiring someone to kind of help her take care of the children. They had the older kids enrolled into preschool. He worked from home downstairs. And then she began seeing a psychiatrist. That psychiatrist started giving her medications. He said, look, she always took the medications like prescribed. However, in December, that is when things start escalating. And she actually ends up telling him that she has suicidal thoughts, even intrusive thoughts about harming her children. She told him as well as her mother. Now, one of the things they do bring up is the fact that her meds, they had a huge bag of medication. He ends up dropping it off at the police station. So they start going over that bag and kind of counting, pretty much saying, okay, but she had all these meds, but she wasn't taking them all the time. She would take a few here, a few there, not consistently enough to where apparently it could make a difference. Because I know, for example, usually meds, they tell you take them for 21 days. We do know then that she self-admitted herself in January to McLean Hospital. According to the defense attorney, she only saw the doctor one time there. They kept medicating her. Now, again, this continues on Wednesday. What are your thoughts so far on this case? Talk to you soon.